I'll be with you guys in a second. Okay, let me go ahead and get things started. Let me make sure I sound good first. I'm gonna sound weird first. Oh, hello. Hello. Okay, that looks very trippy. Anyway, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Been a while. Been a really long while. Um, we got a lot of movies to uncover today. But before we do, I need to get this announcement right off the bat. I do have a film review for what was it called? Heads of State with John Cena and Idris Elba. Can't speak. Heads of State with John Cena and Idris Elba. It will be out soon. I don't know when. Might be today. Might be tomorrow. I don't know. But it'll be coming out soon. All right. I'm trying to link this to as many people as I can, and I don't know if a lot of people did get the link. I don't know. I'm trying to see if I can get more people. Okay. Trying to see if there's anything else I can get. Okay. All right. I just linked this to I linked it to as many people as I could. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with some of the movies I want to talk about. Um, yeah, what did I say? I said Heads of State. That review will be coming out soon, and yeah, I feel like I'm forgetting something. I don't know. The movies that I wanted to watch around January to February, or even like March to April, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't been able to. Gonna be completely honest. W Woody, what up? The Ouija, what up? Um, yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the first movie. Uh, we'll start with Devil Wears Prada 2. Oh, spoilers ahead for any of the movies I'm going to talk about today. Just letting you know that now. Devil Wears Prada 2 is the sequel to the movie Devil Wears Prada. Came out 20 years ago in 2006. Centers around, well, the first movie centered around Anne Hathaway being this like journalist now working for a fashion magazine, and Meryl Streep is the boss. That's it. That's the whole movie. It's very funny, very entertaining. For the time, it was a very funny and like very dramatized movie. However, the sequel somehow overpowered the comedy more than the drama, which is good. You know what I mean? You really gotta amp up the comedy a little bit, and that's exactly what they did. They essentially made it funnier for a modern era. Um, I guess now Meryl Streep's character Miranda, she's now gonna be like the like editor in chief for the company that owns the magazine that she previously worked for. Now it's not even really a magazine; it's kind of like an online thing, which is fine. It's just they kind of changed a couple things to make it more modern. But, I don't really have a problem with it. I think it's still funny. I think it's arguably just as funny as Devil Wears Prada, the first one. I just think that it's one of those movies you don't really need a sequel to, but I'm kind of glad there is a sequel to. You know what I mean? So Devil Wears Prada 2, I'm going to go ahead and fire it up with a 8.5 out of 10. Solid, entertaining, very funny. It does tend to be a little long, but you got to take in all the costumes and stuff. So I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10. I was gonna give it a 9, but the runtime kind of ruins the rating a little bit. So we're gonna stick with 8.5. Oh boy, this is gonna be a doozy. Animal Farm. Oh boy, where do I start with this one? I'm gonna go ahead and say something crazy, right? About 2 months ago, I reviewed the movie Pow Pow Fish. I said it was one of the worst animated movies I had ever watched. I'm going to go ahead and revoke that statement, and I'm actually going to change the rating I gave it, which I believe was like a 0.5 out of 10. I'm going to go ahead and change that to a 1.5 out of 10. Still not a good movie by any means. But the reason why I'm going to change it is because I'm now going to revoke that statement for Pow Pow Fish, and I'm going to give it to Animal Farm. Animal Farm 2026 is so bad, so incredibly bad, that they took a giant dookie, a big fat giant dookie, all over the book, the miniseries from the 90s that Hallmark made, the 1950s animated movie funded by the CIA. Not kidding, that's a real thing. I am like extremely, extremely, extremely disappointed. And I was gonna skip this movie entirely till I heard the negative reception from both critics and audiences. And I had to know what was so bad about it. The fact that you had the balls, the actual balls, to put an incredibly amazing voice cast together of people that I like, with the exception of the girl who played Miss Marvel. I don't care for her. Everybody else, I've liked them in some kind of movie, one way or another, or some kind of project, or a TV show. Maybe Laverne Cox is kind of like, but everyone else, and I'll get back to Laverne Cox in a second, because the majority of the voice cast did fine, but the movie is just unbearably bad. Now let me get back to Laverne Cox. Some of the voice cast shouldn't be in this movie. Iman Vellani, the girl who played Miss Marvel. I'm going to apologize now if I'm botching your name. I'm sorry. But the girl who played Miss Marvel in the Marvels and the Miss Marvel TV show, she plays one of the love interests to a new character in Animal Farm named Lucky. In the original story and the previous adaptations before it, it centered around two pigs in Animal Farm. Snowball and Napoleon. They were fighting each other because they wanted to control power within the Animal Farm, because the farmer, I forgot what happened. I don't remember if he died or he just sold it to the bank. I don't remember. I forgot what it was. In this movie, they tell Snowball to basically go F herself and just never ever show her for like the majority of the movie. She's in there trying to make plans for the Animal Farm. Napoleon's just like, nah. Like some Seth Rogen stuff. And for an Angel Studios movie, I never thought they would bring in Seth Rogen into anything. I'm visibly impressed. And you got the lady from Orange is the New Black. You got Kieran Culkin, who just exists. You have Glenn Close, who's like one of the worst villains in an animated movie I've ever seen. And Gaten Matarazzo, a.k.a. Dustin from Stranger Things. Good Lord Almighty, please get a new agent. What the hell did they put you through? What did they put you through? This is so unbearably bad that the slew of people that are really famous should have never agreed to this. Who funded this movie? Oh, wait, let me tell you. The guy who played Caesar in Planet of the Apes. Andy freaking Serkis. You have no shame. What do you got to say to yourself? You son of a gun. You slick son of a gun. How the hell did you let this happen? I am utterly and completely ashamed to have even had the courage to even sit through this entire monstrosity, let alone with this somewhat ugly animation. I get the pigs are supposed to walk. Maybe there's something within the story I don't remember. I'll be completely honest. I don't remember the story that well, but I did watch maybe a bit of the 90s miniseries one, and I know about the 50s animated movie. I think it's on Tubi. I could be wrong. Not sponsored, by the way. But the fact that it exists is a shock to me. Absolute shock. This is truly, truly one of the worst animated movies I have ever witnessed. Pow Pow Fish isn't as bad as I thought it was. Because it doesn't come close to how bad this movie is. At least they kind of had a story and they based it on a children's book that people were like, what is this? You know what I mean? Maybe if you know it, cool, but like, it's just boring. That's why I don't like it. But this is unacceptable. You tarnished one of the most important books in middle school or even high schools, and you just ruined it. You ruined it. You somehow found a way to ruin it. I'm visibly impressed. Now imagine if they did an adaptation of Fahrenheit 451. We're screwed. We're all cooked. God, what the hell were they thinking? What was Angel Studios thinking? Like, I'm visibly ashamed. And they tend to do some decent stuff. They do good Christian movies, and they even apparently made a really good rom-com in Solo Mio. How did you fund this? What are we doing? Why would kids watch this? And it's not even the toilet humor that's bad. The writing isn't good. The direction is not good. Andy Serkis plays a chicken. And he's annoying. And he's supposed to be like also a bit of a narrator. Like, no. And Seth Rogen is supposed to be funny. But what I hate about Seth Rogen with this movie is how people hate Jack Black in Borderlands, where he's just annoying. Which is funny because Seth Rogen's not really an annoying guy in real life. He's actually kind of funny. Yeah, Animal Farm is truly one of the worst movies I've ever watched. And yeah, I'm gonna again, Pow Pow Fish is getting now a 1.5 out of 10 because I'm switching that rating to this movie. You are getting 8.5 out of 10. Truly one of the worst movies of the year. Huge Razzie contender. And if it's not a Razzie contender, I'd be shocked. Absolutely, absolutely abysmal. God, what a terrible movie. All right, next we have Mortal Kombat 2. Sorry, that was cringe. I'm going to edit that out. Mortal Kombat 2 is a continuation of the first Mortal Kombat movie, and if you haven't seen that, please go do. It's pretty cool. If you've ever played the video games, Mortal Kombat, it basically centers around the storyline of Scorpion and Sub-Zero. They're two fighters. They fight each other. They go into a tournament. If you don't know Mortal Kombat, go play the games. The games are so cool. Mortal Kombat 2 is kind of straightforward. It just continues the same concept of the tournament. However, they added Johnny Cage. Probably one of the best characters in the entire game franchise. I'm going to be completely honest. Johnny Cage is one of the GOATs to me. I feel like the CGI in this movie is a little better and a little worse. I forgot his name with the sharp teeth. I already forgot his name. I'm disappointed in myself. Some of the CGI, especially with his teeth, like a little goofy looking, but maybe that's the point. There's like a little charm to it. I think the action scenes are pretty solid. I think Carl Urban's a pretty decent Johnny Cage. I don't think he's the greatest, but he's decent. I think some of the characters didn't need to get killed off, in my opinion. But if you had to forward a story, fine. Like it's not a bad movie. I actually really Okay, I am back. So, going back to what I said about Mortal Kombat, I think in my what? Sorry, my cat's in the room. What? What? Anyway, um, Mortal Kombat 2 has this like decent pacing. I think that the camera work is pretty solid. And look, you had to kill off some characters to forward the storyline, fine. But you kind of don't have to. But whatever, it's fine. Um, Mortal Kombat 2, I'm gonna give like a 7.5 out of 10. I think that that's a fair rating. I would give it an 8, but I feel like you could have added more time. Just a little bit. I also think that some of Johnny Cage's dialogue was just kind of, eh. Again, Carl Urban did fine. He's a good fighter. It's just, I don't know. He had like maybe one too many comedic moments. You need him to be a little serious. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just me. Um, Next we have the Sheep Detectives. Basically, centers around a bunch of sheep, find out that their owner got murdered. Who done it? You end up finding out, oh, spoiler, it's this random reporter that drove by the same RV at the beginning of the movie, and then you find out he was plotting this like the whole time. And I'm gonna say this now, the guy who did do the murder in the movie is the same guy who plays He-Man. Wouldn't believe me if I told you. I know, right? Crazy. It, He-Man and Wolverine in the same movie. Crazy. And the cast ain't even that bad. They all did a pretty good job. It's just kind of a little goofy, honestly, but you know, it's cute. It's just kind of, it's just not my kind of movie. You know what I mean? I couldn't agree more, bro. I'm gonna give that like a 7 out of 10. It's charming. It's just kind of not my kind of movie. It's like kind of funny and kind of not. It does get a little boring at times. I won't lie. And I feel like they could have done a lot more with this, comedic mystery concept. I don't know. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Next, I have Is God Is. Oh boy, this one was a doozy. Is God Is centers around two sisters avenging the death of their mom, who had gotten injured in a fire but passed away from her injuries. And their dad is kind of crazy, and he kind of did this. Why? Honestly, I don't know. They never really went too in deep with it. Then you find out that their dad was also flirting with another woman. He may have had another kid, possibly. Then he had another woman in his life, and then he had more kids. It it gets crazy. It gets kind of nutty. Now, as a thriller, like a revenge thriller, solid, very solid. Acting, it's all right. I think the acting's fine. The twins kind of bouncing back and forth dialogue is kind of nice. I don't like when they do the silent bit, like they're trying to connect with their brain, like or communicate with their brains. I don't like that. That's just me personally. I don't care for that. Just speak at that point, unless there's some deeper meaning that I don't know of. Regardless, I found it very entertaining. I was very engaged with the action. I thought, Janelle Monae's portion in the film was actually kind of funny. She just kind of existed for the most part. Thought Sterling K. Brown was a pretty decent villain. Vivica A. Fox in the cameo as the mom, like she did great. The makeup department did a pretty good job with this movie. I give them credit. You know what I mean? Yeah, because like one of the sisters has like burn marks on her face, and they did a good job in the makeup department. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give that a solid 8 out of 10. Very solid, well paced, well edited. It's just too short. You had more to work with. I think you kind of ran by it too fast. Like you kind of we kind of started. I know I said the pacing's nice, but like the story had more to work with. I think, in my opinion. So yeah, I think eight's a pretty good rating to give it. Next one, I might get a little controversial with this one, a tiny bit. It's I Love Boosters. I Love Boosters centers around Kiki Palmer and a group slash posse of thieves, clothing thieves. They steal clothing. Why? To take down Demi Moore, who plays a very controlling clothing mogul, to basically tear down her entire empire. And also because they really want nice ass clothes. Now, as a comedy, this was marketed as a crime comedy. It is not just a crime comedy, folks. It's absurdist crime comedy. Why would they do that? You had a funny crime movie in there, and you made it an absurdist movie. Now, absurdist films can be fine. It just depends on how you execute it. You already know how much I really hate Beau is Afraid. It is truly one of the worst 3 hours of film I've ever sat through in my entire life. But never, ever did I ever expect I Love Boosters, of all movies, to have probably one of the most insane flashback moments of any character in a film ever. I'm going to explain to the best that I can so YouTube doesn't try to demonetize me. Okay? Here we go. Lakeith Stanfield plays a man with a pinky ring right here. And he basically explains that he is a soul-sucking demon. Yeah, there's demons in this movie. But not the way you think. Now, obviously, he's kind of a handsome man. He got some aura, you know what I mean? Kind of risen to ladies, obviously. In this flashback scene, he has a woman in bed. They're obviously, doing the business, However, it gets to a certain point in the film where all of a sudden it goes from being normal stuff to the soul being sucked out. And I don't know how to explain this. Picture the ending of Beau is Afraid and how bad that ending is. Picture how bad that is. It is truly, truly, truly one of the worst things I have, not even the worst things, one of the most graphic and disgusting looking things I have ever looked at. Picture Lakeith Stanfield like right here, right? Picture he's like right here. And this entire, his body doesn't look like this. It's now like scaled back like this. It's so gross looking, so disgusting looking, that even watching 5 minutes of it almost made me throw up. Now, outside of that scene, pretty funny movie, kind of straightforward crime comedy. At one point, they have teleporters, so they use the clothing to throw them in teleporters, and apparently it goes to China. That's a random thing. Yeah, it goes to China in this shirt factory or this clothing factory where all these people, these factory workers, are just stuck there making clothing, and they hate it. They hate the work environments, and I think I think they're getting sick. It gets crazy. So, I Love Boosters is funny, but like it's not my kind of comedy. Again, that flashback scene is truly one of the most disturbing things I've ever watched, but it's way more creative and way more inventive than Beau is Afraid's ending. God almighty. Yeah. My rating for this isn't out of hatred. I think that Boots Riley disappointed me a little bit because his writing and direction are good. I love Sorry to Bother You. It's truly one of the funniest movies I've ever watched. But I Love Boosters is just not it. Now, that's not to say the set design or the costumes are bad. They're good. The acting's decent. It's just, there's a few things that bug me out a little bit, so I can't really give it any higher than this. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 6.5 out of 10. I can't give it anything higher than that because it's truly some disturbing stuff. Truly, truly disturbing stuff. God, what a weird movie. So fun, but also really weird. Now we're going to go into the month of June with Masters of the Universe. To say that He-Man is back would be an understatement. While I appreciate the creativity of this movie, it is a very long movie, has about 2 or 3 post-credit scenes. Why, I don't know. It's crazy to me to think that this movie's flopping. Why? Why? You don't like He-Man? Oh, you do like He-Man. That's what's up. You want to say hi to the stream? Okay. I'm petting my cat. He-Man, I feel like, can be a good movie, right? When given the right people and the right cast. Camila Mendes said something crazy on Twitter that kind of like hurt the reputation of the film a little bit. I forgot what the tweet was, but she said something crazy, and people were like, "What?" And what's even crazier to me, at least, is it's not even a bad movie. And what's even crazier, it's got freaking Jared Leto in it. Yeah, no, Jared Leto. It's crazy. Jared Leto. Who would have thought? Like, Jared Leto can do decent stuff. Like, he's a good lead singer in rock. You know, he's done good in music and stuff like that. I just I'm just like severely shocked at how good he is in this. Skeletor might have been his best acting I've ever seen in a movie. Like, I'm visibly shocked. And I thought this movie was gonna like really do bad, but I'm surprised to say it's actually not that bad. It's goofy, little charming, and it surprised me with how intriguing they went. They went with the 80s round, excuse me, like the show, where the other movie adaptation from the 80s with Dolph Lundgren, ironically cameoing in the newer one, it's just not that great and really stupid looking, and Skeletor's kind of dumb, which he is dumb in the show, but still, you know. But yeah, like the movie was charming, kind of funny. I definitely thought the runtime was a little much. I don't really care for the Camila Mendes casting. I don't really care for it. Um, there was a lot of filler that could have been taken out. Could have taken out like 15 minutes of the film, and it would have been fine. Um, the She-Ra thing, that's not really going to result in much. I'm going to be honest. Like, it's again not really doing that great in the box office. Maybe I could be wrong about that, but it's not doing great. And Amazon really just doesn't care because this is going to go on Amazon Prime regardless. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Solid movie. Really enjoyed it. Had a lot more potential than I expected. Jared Leto surprised me, but I'm still not a fan of him. Sorry. Next, we have the new Scary Movie. If you don't like Scary Movie, at least the new one, and you're calling it terrible, you're just soft. Now, if you have a reason for not liking it and you're saying, oh, there's no story to it, you could have had more ideas, that's understandable. But the thing about Scary Movie is you're supposed to watch it with the idea that it's going to be crazy. It's going to be, very harsh. And they hit the money on this one. They hit it in the ballpark. This was one of the funniest movies I had seen all year. And I dare someone tell me otherwise. If you just don't like this movie, you just don't like Scary Movie. I'm sorry. They used similar tropes from the first couple of movies, which is fine, at least to me. It's nostalgia bait. Who cares? But I think like they really wanted you to think that they were going to do something with some of these parodies they were going with. The only one that I was really hyped about, I don't think they did do it, was Heretic. And I didn't even see Heretic, but I heard about it. Surprised they didn't parody that movie, but they parodied, they said the cuckoo line, which I believe was parodying, the movie Cuckoo with, I forgot her name. It'll come back to me. And then, like, you had the Long Legs parody. You had Obviously, Sinners was in the trailer a lot, but that was just kind of like a one-off joke. If the movie, and there was also another scene with Sinners, but like if you parodied just Sinners or just Weapons, which was another parody they used, the movie would have been peak, like absolute peak, 10 out of 10. But because of like the random rapid fire jokes they were going with, like I don't know, I'm gonna label it a 6 because it's just easy for me. New scary movie. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 8.5 out of 10. Very funny, very entertaining. My only downside is I feel like you had potential for a story and you just didn't do it. But it's still funny regardless, so I don't really care too much about that. Next, we have The Furious. I'm just gonna go ahead and start throwing up my rating. The Furious is a martial arts movie about a guy who goes to save his daughter from a kidnapping and a whole child trafficking thing, or child trafficking in general. These guys are hoarding kids. Reason? I don't know. Probably money. Probably something else. I don't know. It's a lot to unpack. The police in this movie do literally nothing, and they don't really care, which is not a good sign at all. Don't like that. I think some of the characters in this movie aren't smart. At least the dad is kind of cool. He kicks ass. Basically, like a old school Bruce Lee martial arts movie, and I really enjoyed it. I really did. However, major downside: the supporting cast not that great. I'm not talking about the kids. I'm talking about the adults. Major disappointment. The buddy sidekick that they gave the dad not that great. The cops boring. The female cop that tries to help out at the end of the movie boring. They're just boring. And I feel like they had something with this movie, but I feel like they kind of overhyped it a little bit. The story's a little stupid and the acting's a bit goofy. I I'm gonna give it like a 6 out of 10. Like it's not bad, it's just not great. They definitely like kick butt, but there's not really much to work with. Excuse me for 1 second. So yeah, I'm gonna give Furious a 7 out of 10. I mean 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10. I would have given it a 7, but I feel like they just kept the runtime going and it was just getting slower and slower, even with the cool action scenes. And the choreography is awesome. I just think the story kind of stinks and the direction kind of blows. Yeah. Also, found this out: the guy who plays the sidekick to the dad, he was in Mortal Kombat. Didn't know that. Didn't know that till recently. Didn't know that. Crazy. Next, we have Supergirl. Oh boy. Yikes. Supergirl is an interesting case. If you don't know Supergirl, it's a continuation slash spinoff of Superman, the new Superman that came out last year. Great movie. Love that movie. This movie, not as much. Millie Alcock, yes, that is her name. She's not the greatest choice to be Supergirl after seeing this movie. I think her having like a bit of a drinking habit and kind of making her look like an alcoholic at one point, just kind of making her feel bored, kind of like a rip-off Deadpool for some reason, which is fine. We need an angsty superhero these days, but the way they executed it, not a big fan of it. Craig Gillespie, he directed this movie in a way that James Gunn could not, which was very wonky. And it had this really weird slow pace throughout the dialogue that almost put me to sleep. And that is not a good sign. We're trying to build up to where Crypto is. Yeah, by the way, Crypto's like a major part of this movie. He basically gets shot by a leader of this gang called I think they're called the Krems or the Kremlins. I completely forgot. Like this ruthless gang, and they killed off this girl's family. Not Supergirl, cannot stress it enough. This other girl that's really important. Her name is Rufy, but I think her story's dumb. I don't care. Like I truly don't. I think she's cool. She kicks ass. Whatever. She's just boring. Super boring. Slows the movie down a lot. Like her stuff just slows down a lot. Um, but what's so intriguing to me is they hyped this movie a lot. Like there was a lot of promo going into this movie. As I am recording this video and as I'm recording this live stream, this movie has made under $100 million at the box office, right under 75 million or right around that mark. The budget was about 170 to 200 million. That is not a good sign at all. This is probably going to be one of the biggest flops of the summer. And that's kind of shocking because this is DC. This is the James Gunn universe. We're supposed to be getting good movies from him. But this isn't even his movie. It's two other people's movies in his universe, which is a major disappointment. Now, I hope to God that Clayface is better than this, or The Lantern Show, or hopefully a new Batman movie is probably better than this. Because what on earth was this movie? Now, the Lobo scenes with Jason Momoa, awesome. Love Lobo. I think he's awesome. There's a scene in the trailer, or one of the trailers when it first came out. It showed Lobo in the city with the bike, and he's roaring around. He's revving around in a motorcycle, and he's kicking ass. It is not in this movie. They did not put it in this movie, or at least that I don't remember. I remember him riding around on a bike on a ship, but in the trailer, he's in the city in his bike. I don't remember him being in the city for the majority of the movie. I remember him being in a prison cell in the movie. And I remember him being in the city inside of a restaurant. That's it. Maybe I missed something. I don't know. I'm just severely disappointed. This could have been a big movie, but it was not. I think it's kind of obvious from the get-go when Spider-Man comes out, this is going to body it by a long shot. Supergirl was such a big disappointment. Spider-Man's just going to go nuts. Like, it's going to go nuts in July. Like, man, like, Supergirl could have been. But the last 30 minutes weren't bad, and I think the action was pretty decent. I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. A lot of halves today. I haven't given one 10 out of 10 at all today, which is kind of a shock. Next we have Jackass Best and Last. Oh, this one might get crazy. Jackass is interesting, right? Who would have thought that the show would be so popular that you now have a movie that compiles not only the best stunts from the series and the movies, with some newer ones that might possibly end the franchise? I guess Johnny and the gang couldn't do it anymore. Also, the one girl who was in the cast, she didn't really do much stunts, which kind of surprised me a bit. You know? Yeah. Jackass was fun. It was a fun movie, a fun go hang out with your friends and go see a funny movie kind of movie. You know what I mean? I think it's worth it in the theaters in my eyes, just from the sound design alone. And the stunts are pretty funny. There are a lot of gross ones, though. Really, really, really gross ones. Definitely, like, of the Jackass movies, it's definitely one of the best. I would say it's this one, the first movie, and Forever, in no particular order. Excuse me. I still think 3D is the worst one because the 3D gimmick is kind of dumb. I just wasn't a fan of the 3D gimmick when that movie came out. But, you know, like when I saw the trailer and I'm like, oh, Jackass 3D, cool. Whatever. Because I guess at the time when I was a kid, I just, other than Shark Boy and Lava Girl, I just didn't care for 3D. I, like, truly didn't. Or maybe there was, what did I see? Despicable Me 2 in 3D, but I don't know if that was worth it. Yeah, Jackass Best and Last. What a finale. What a great movie. And if you ever make a show, do it like the way Jackass did. Truly masterpiece. I'm going to give that a solid, oh God, I can't even type. No, you know what? I'm generous. We'll give it a 9.5 out of 10. Definitely entertaining. I think if I'm going to rank them, Forever still my favorite. This is right behind it, and the first movie's like a 9. And then after that's the second movie. Then there was a Jackass movie I think before, or I think after Forever. I could be wrong about that. I'm gonna have to double check. But the worst one's still 3D. That's still the worst one. But it's not like bad in a way. It's like a 7.5, maybe like a 7. But this is definitely one of my favorite Jackass movies. Love it. Just it got the best stunts, some ones we never seen before, some newer ones, and I don't want to explain one of the Steve-O ones because it's a little gross, just a little bit. Next, we got here the new Netflix movie, Little Brother. Little Brother is such a strange comedy. I'm gonna say movie, but honestly, can I even call it a movie? It's a strange comedy. Centers around John Cena and Eric Andre. They're, I guess, Eric Andre being like this adopted brother from a charity to John Cena's character. And he's like a lawyer or real estate guy, and he's working for this like New York City reality show, right? Eric Andre's character kind of interferes and kind of does all these weird, hilarious hijinks. It's kind of a gross movie, like gross out movie, and not in a good way. It's just kind of, the funniest bit from the movie I can't say is John Cena is literally on the dance floor dancing to Bad Bunny while on cocaine. That's it. That's it. I mean, like, that's the funniest part of the whole movie. I think there might be a gif of it on Twitter now, or GIF, whatever you call it. But Eric Andre in this movie is just not funny. John Cena in this movie is kind of funny. There are a few, like, Eric Andre bits where, like, I kind of smirked, maybe had a small chuckle. But Eric Andre is just not funny in this. Like, not at all. There's a bit where he's, like, peeing outside of John Cena's Porsche. And it's just not funny. It's not funny.